The industry of aerospace and defense electronics is facing new and exciting challenges in this growing market. With the declining defense spending, the market is depending more on technology to get the job done. On the commercial sector, the flying public is demanding more conveniences and services that bring the need for ever-increasing technology. Making sure you are prepared for serving your customers is key, and having the right technology running your business is a large portion of the solution. Over the next few minutes, we are going to take you through methods and solutions that you can use to improve your business processes with the potential to increase sales and profitability. If you are in the electronics fabrication segment, from board level to complete black box solutions, you will no doubt see ways to improve. Let's take a look at some of the challenges you are facing. Your customers have growing needs for more specialization and complexity. Shorter production runs of systems that are 5 to 10 times more complex are getting to be the norm. You need to respond quickly with complete and accurate quotations with all of the details checked and double-checked. Upfront engineering costs are growing, and it's getting tougher to find skilled electrical engineers with top credentials. The use of the right MCAD and ECAD tools and maintaining the proper revisions and changes requires integrated PLM to ERP systems. Maintaining intellectual property security is also critical, as with more data and complexity, more people means more chance of risk. ITAR compliance is the norm today for any military work. Governmental reporting, project accounting, and conformance are all increasingly complex, as is reducing the risk of mishandling of information to keep you out of trouble. And finally, getting an accurate and attainable build date to deliver on time, on budget, and with the required quality. Next up, it's the manufacturing details that are critical, especially when you are trying to gain efficiencies of mass production with low volume runs. By getting a handle on purchased materials, making sure raw materials are there when needed, not early, not late, you can free up available cash. Maintaining certified approval vendor lists, keeping up with product obsolescence and engineering changes, all are critical to success. Labor is typically a large portion of the fabrication cost. Getting those schedules and working on the right job at the right time to reduce waste. The same goes for all resources. Fabrication equipment such as insertion lines, specialized tools and test harnesses and fixtures all have costs that need to be minimized. Optimal planning and scheduling is critical. Customer engagement and sales does not stop once the component or module is assembled, delivered, and invoiced. You have a huge opportunity to gain additional revenue and keep the customer for life if you can capitalize on service and rebuild processes. Proper handling of any warranty and keeping them operational in the event of an issue is mandatory to retain contracts. Replacement parts, especially if you can show excellence in maintaining a handle on obsolescence updates, can even gain you additional service business pulled from your competitors. It's not uncommon to have 50% of the net revenue coming from service, especially in cases where upfront bidding reduced margins to paper thin. Why leave that money on the table? No matter if you are a prime contractor dealing directly with the military or a supplier to commercial aerospace manufacturers, having a completely integrated solution that has the built-in capabilities is a requirement. Taking a look at what Infor CloudSuite Industrial can provide to an electronics specialist, a complete and integrated system that covers all your business needed. Nothing to bolt on, one system, one supplier, and above all, one supplier to answer all questions from initial proposal to the expert implementation and support. So coverage from end to end of the business. Just as you provide a total solution for your clients, we provide a total solution for you. Let's take a look in detail at what CloudSuite Industrial can do for you, beginning with built-in customer management capabilities, which enables companies to effectively manage their client information, no matter if the customer is the U.S. military, a foreign government, a commercial aviation company, a prime contractor, or a systems provider. Detailed information as to contacts and who is who at the client. Ability to track all interactions to ensure every communication is retained and auditable. Document attachments to retain all correspondence, methods and requirements of the business, and contract details. All is contained within the built-in CRM system. When engaging with your client, the first step is to effectively execute on creating the bid response quotation or estimate. Since every customer has unique requirements for their bid and quote processes, the requirement to create a specialized quotation is required. With CSI Sightline, you will have the ability to manage the response creation through the use of document controls and with document automation that exactly meets the needs of your client. Creating a document profile for each client that will automatically assemble the correct documents will ensure a higher win rate due to lower errors and omissions in the bid response. As the bid response often has very specific timelines for submittal, the need to create an accurate estimate bill of materials and process routing to gather accurate costs is of high importance. CSI Sightline gives your engineers the ability to work up a complete and detailed BOM of all components, as well as the proposed and planned routing and operation steps, with complete costs. Now, speaking of engineering, as the BOMs and designs become more complex, the engineers in your organization must be tied directly into the bid and quote process. Again, CSI Sightline excels in this. By having a complete product lifecycle management or PLM system that is fully integrated into CSI Sightline, they are able to work within their ECAD and MCAD systems, building and maintaining their designs, while having visibility of how that design comes to life in manufacturing. Visibility of costs, for example, as well as sourcing, potential obsolescence, and approved vendors. All this results in a product that follows a DFM, Design for Manufacturing approach, reducing costs, improved quality and reliability, and a better product for your client. While the CAD and design engineers focus on the design, the process engineers need to have access to the design data so to build out the proper and most effective fabrication and assembly. Sightline's engineering board and engineering workbench tools enable engineers to set up work centers, resource groups, and resources to actually perform the fabrication and assembly efficiently. Resources can be machines as well as critical labor, those specific named individuals that are called out with specific skills to do a job. Resources can also be test jigs and fixtures. We will touch a bit later on how these tools and fixtures are maintained within the quality system to ensure that all tests are auditable and certifiable. CSI Sightline has a complete engineering change control system that will enable your engineers to maintain control over changes in items, assembly details, and costs. With full sign-off and approval processes in place, this leaves no room for changes to be made without proper notifications and authorizations. As you often will need to hold and maintain AS9100 and other quality certifications, the ability to manage all the processes associated with quality starts up front with engineering. CSI Sightline Enterprise Quality Processes enables you to define the quality requirements up front, create the methods such as APQP and PPAP that will be used to evaluate vendor and in-process activities, as well as the corrective action, or CARs, and MRRs that will be executed in the event of a quality error. You will be able to document everything for the auditors and show that you have a solid handle on your entire process. Once your client is presented with the quotation, you can use the Sightline CRM Opportunity Management to set reminders and tasks to follow up with your client as to open questions and see how their decision is progressing. Oftentimes, especially with governments, clients will come back and make repeated bid modifications and changes until they fine-tune the requirements. You are able to quickly pull up the estimate, make revisions, and communicate the new bid response back to them. No matter if they make one change or 100, you are quickly able to respond while having full visibility of the costs, impact, and details. As your client gets closer to commercial bid award, they will often ask as to specific delivery times. Without the right tools and visibility, often in the past you would have to make those rough guess decisions and keep them happy by padding out the delivery date and perhaps losing the business. With CSI Sightline, you can immediately and with a high degree of accuracy give them a detailed, accurate delivery date by using the ATP-CTP planning system. Running in real-time memory, the system plans each and every line in the BOM and routing, looking at available resources in either an infinite or finite model, and produces an accurate delivery date. If your client is not able to work with that date, you can drill in and see exactly what is the holdup and take action on that bottleneck. Perhaps it is a hard-to-source component that would have a substitute. The result, giving the client the product and system they need in the time they need it. As is the case when working with government entities and prime contractors, the need to capture all activities and costs is critical. These costs include design engineering time, prototype builds and testing, and other activities which can lead to significant cost amounts. As well, your customers often need to be billed for these costs in a method that requires milestone billing and flexibility of tying cost to revenue recognition that often are best handled within a projects-based manufacturing process. Sightline handles this well. Being able to build a master project plan with detailed tasks and resources assigned, capturing estimated costs as well as resulting actual costs through every stage of the project. Providing accurate milestone billing details to your clients for them to be able to audit. No matter if the project is only a few short months or multi-year project, Sightline's project management will give you the details you need for proper controls and accounting. If you are successful with the proper bid response process, you should increase your win rates. Your client will decide to do business and award the contract to you. Once they give you the nod to proceed, you can easily convert the estimate to a full sales order and line with one click. All that information captured during the bid response estimate phase stays with the customer and that order. Even more importantly, that estimate BOM and routing transfers over to a production-ready current BOM. No manual copies, no keyboarding, no room for error. During the bid response process, the engineering team is typically working right beside the sourcing and purchasing teams to line up approved vendors for component items. In many cases, your client may have provided detailed specifications for certain components that you must now source, and source at the right price. Now recall when we spoke of the direct connection from PLM to engineering inside of CSI Sightline. This connection becomes extremely valuable in sourcing. CSI Sightline can manage that engineering part data in the item master down to attribute details. These attributes can be set up by products such as passive components as resistors and capacitors, as well as active components, fittings, and hardware. Unlimited flexibility within the level of detail your items require. Approved vendors are maintained also within Sightline. Deep vendor detail, as well as their quality performance ratings, helps to make the right sourcing choice. Since often these vendors are distributors, they need to have a detailed multi-way crossover of part numbers from manufacturer to distributor to your internal part number or even your customer's part numbers. As complex electronic systems and assemblies can have hundreds or perhaps even thousands of components, the purchasing of items for specific jobs is key. Unique items are often needed only for one specific system build, so they need to go out for bid or RFQ, and this is a key requirement. Sightline's automated RFQ process can use the job requirements to create RFQs for suppliers to supply those specific items. Quickly and easily, suppliers can respond with costs and delivery due dates, which then can be turned into orders if desired. When you are evaluating vendors, oftentimes you will need to perform upfront quality checks and processes such as APQP and PPAP. Sightline's process quality gives you the tools to manage these processes with vendors and complete your audits. This follows through with subsequent QC checks that are done at an operational level, such as receiving from that vendor. Sightline's built-in QCS system starts with defining tests and parameters at the item and vendor level. A matrix approach for setting up tests by vendor and by item ensures the right steps are taken for each vendor. Test operations are defined for receiving, and during the receiving process, these tests must be executed at the prescribed intervals. We will touch on the in-process QC steps in just a moment. Now it's time to begin production. Sightline's planning engine, which actually ran when you first provided a promise date for the client, runs again automatically and in the background to get an updated delivery date based on the current shop load. Your production planners now have full visibility of the entire production operation with all customer demands together. Resource loads and critical resources, which can be machines or people with specific skills, are visible. Visibility of overloaded resources and finding ways to streamline the jobs that need to be processed using the planning detail is achievable. Certainly, having an excess of a very specific item that is for a unique build is not a good idea, nor is having an item unavailable for assembly when it's needed, as that would delay or even stop the fabrication line and hold up other jobs. Sightline sourcing via the Material Planner's workbench gives your buyers the information they need to source product efficiently and exactly when it's needed. The buyer's job is simplified by having a view of all items required to be purchased and then selecting them for purchase. Automatically, POs can then be created and even electronically sent to the supplier. For the production planner, their job is also simplified with their own version of the workbench, as releasing jobs for fabrication that the system has planned based on various system rules is easy and results in efficient line runs. Sightline's built-in rules-based scheduling can properly sequence the order in which jobs are run on the line based on detailed rules that can be personalized to fit your operation. By minimizing changeovers by running like jobs together, all of this helps to reduce wasted time and get as much throughput as possible. Graphically, you will have visibility of the line stations and exactly when each job operation is due to be run and what resources are being consumed. We now can turn our attention to the shop floor where the real work is getting done. By enabling production workers on the shop floor to have accurate details of the production schedule, they can better perform their job. Visual dispatch lists provide the detail needed by station and job operation. As they perform their work, items can be associated with the finished assembly, even down to the specific serialized items. Having this component serial item to serialized final assembly is critical once the system is in the field. And by the way, if you do not require detailed serial tracking and tracing of components, CSI Sightline has full lot tracking capabilities with the ability to track up and down from initial receipt to final assembly. By having real-time shop floor production data tracked for both labor and materials, accurate specific job costing is possible, and alerts can be set if things are not running to plan. Once production is complete, the actual as-assembled detailed production information, down to those individual serials and lots, is retained in the system as the as-built job details. Any changes to the items on the original BOM, which can be a regular occurrence, are captured. Now let's take a look at in-process quality, as we mentioned earlier. Detailed QC checks at defined operational steps using calibrated jigs and fixtures can be specified. These tools are maintained within the QCS system to ensure they are capable and auditable for calibration. All QC data is now logged and kept with the job and serial-specific assembly detail. Even digital photos can be captured for permanent record keeping. Once the production is complete and is given final approval by QC, the system or component module is now ready for delivery. This is the trigger for Sightline Field Service to continue to track it for life. We just spoke of the job-specific BOM and routing, as well as the as-assembled BOM. That as-assembled detailed BOM, which even contained component and system serial numbers, is automatically transferred to the field service portion of Sightline. The full detailed lineage of how the specific build is now visible as a serialized unit, traceable by serial unit ID. Once the system is in possession of the customer, a customer owner record is maintained in field service. Warranty and service management can be managed. As common with complex assemblies, manufacturers' warranties of major subcomponents, such as power supplies, can be specifically maintained under the entire unit. For example, the power supply could have a 2-year warranty, while the entire unit may have a warranty of 3 years. In the event your client has an issue with the modular system, it can be quickly serviced. Starting with an incident, your staff can perform a lookup by serial unit, perform initial knowledge-based diagnostics, and if return for service or field service is needed, dispatch properly skilled technicians to address the problem. The technicians can log their time and all replacement materials and components to that specific unit. All the time, that unit configuration is being updated by all work performed, giving the complete life cycle view of the unit. Speaking of good business, the ability to tie everything together in an embedded financial system is critical. With CSI Sightline, all sales, purchasing, manufacturing transactions, and all project transactions tie together to the appropriate financial accounts and transactions. There is no place for loss of financial traceability during any process. We talked of the project management processes up front, and now we can see how it ties to the financial accounting. All costs and revenue related to the project are tied together with full visibility. Careful cash management is also possible with your vendors by properly managing AP and taking all applicable discounts. Real-time cash flow visibility, especially critical with high-value electronics manufacturing, is enabled with Sightline. When it comes to reporting, Sightline again makes your job easy. Through the use of Excel, the well-known financial accountant's favorite tool, Sightline retains its key role as the system of record while giving you the flexibility to produce reports in Excel, the best of both. Security and audit trails are an explicit requirement for doing business in A&D electronics. Your customers demand it, and the ramifications of non-compliance are huge. CSI Sightline provides detailed security levels down to the individual transaction and data within the transaction. As all of Sightline's data is presented through the IDO, or Intelligent Data Object, security can even be down to the individual field level. For example, if an item's detail are restricted for ITAR, only those users with ITAR permissions in their employee record can see the data. Auditing can be turned on to see who tried to access forms and the data, and what was the result. Control of data, knowing exactly who accessed the data, and having a reporting method are all part of CSI Sightline's security. Beyond the auditing and control, Sightline meets security requirements of FIPS for password encryption and controls. Well, that wraps up the CSI Sightline for Aerospace and Defense electronics solution, an end-to-end system that can manage your customer needs from initial bid response all the way to total lifetime maintenance coverage, managing all aspects of sales, project management, procurement, planning, and production into a controlled financial system, reducing risk, improving revenue, and maintaining solid margins, all things that CSI Sightline can bring to your business. Thank you for watching.